coaching staff, you look at everything, every metric you measure an offseason at, to me, the Commanders come out towards the top of the list, at least top 5 team of the offseason. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. I know we talked about the offseason briefly during the draft, and now we talked about it on your fella's show as well. But I think anytime you could get a head coach who has at least been to a Super Bowl, anytime you could get tight ends and running backs who have been all pros, anytime you could draft a quarterback whose ceiling is higher than the Willis Tower, you guys are in good shape, at least to build the future, in my opinion. This year's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and I think you guys show out better than people expect this year. I really do. I think you guys play football that's around 500, whether it's 8-9, 9-8, teeter-totter in that wild card, because let's be honest, wild card's wide open for the NFC as well. So I think you guys will be right in the hunt there. What say you, Steve? We'll start with you. Awesome. And we are live. Just getting word here. We're live on Command This, YouTube and Twitter as well. So we appreciate all those joining in from the Command This side of things. We're joined by the Plunder. Good morning, Plunder. We appreciate you joining us. We love the Plunder, established 2023. So we do love you coming in. Plunder in the house. We got another fellow Command This guy, LaTrance Perry. What up, bros?
He's an Eagles fan, so he's a friend of the show, but we got to watch out for that guy.
Yeah, well, we'll write that one off then. But Steve, speaking of write-off, the offseason surely wasn't a write-off for you fellas.
Yeah, it wasn't. Like I said, we said on our show today, this roster was 73% turned over. It's hard to gauge off what you did last year going into this year. So new coaching staff, new owner, new management, new GM, new assistant GM, new O-Cord, D-Cord, new staff altogether, second overall pick at quarterback. It's really hard to know what this team's going to look like. You can go off what Dan Quinn and Joe Witt did in the Dallas defense a couple years ago, which was fantastic. Cliff Kingsbury, data sample small. He had Kyler Murray in Arizona. Then he was a consultant, at USC with Caleb Williams and I forget Lincoln Riley. So he wasn't a coordinator; he was a consultant. So you don't know what they're going to bring. We had a very vanilla preseason, so I'm excited. Don't know what to expect. Not putting on the Homer goggles and saying we're going to the chip. But I'm like you. I'm thinking 7, probably 8 wins max this year.
Yeah, well, you never know, and that's why we play these games, right? Because the world of football, I feel like other sport, basketball, you pretty much know who the hell the playoff teams are before the year even starts. Hockey, you only get 1 to 2 random teams seemingly sneak in each season. Baseball, you could cookie cutter all the division winners damn near. I mean, Vegas had Milwaukee winning the division. They had Los Angeles Dodgers. You could go on and on. When you get to the world of football, it's so unpredictable. Injuries play such a big factor, everything in between. And Cliff Kingsbury, that damn consultant role, but I do think he's a good hire. He was about to be gobbled up by the Raiders, and then he backdoored them and said, I'm heading to Washington.
Yeah.
So, that's a good sign for the Commandos to me, as, you had a coach who had an opportunity on the doorstep. He left it. Went to Washington. I think that's a great hire. Wasn't a huge Kingsbury head coaching guy, but I think that's a great offensive coordinator hire, fellas. Phil, what say you?
I think it's an interesting hire. Cliff Kingsbury is one of these guys that he's a little polarizing. The fact that people look at the fact that he's worked with all these different quarterbacks. He, of course, helped orchestrate the air raid offense down at Texas Tech. He helped develop Kyler Murray. But a lot of people look at it and say, but he didn't. What does he want? Where's the consistent winning? That's what they look at. I always look at coordinators a little bit differently, because coordinators can only go so far if depending upon who the head coach is. I do think that he's the type of guy that customizes what he does to who he's working with. And I think that is very key, because you have a rookie quarterback. We're not trying to fit square pegs into round holes or vice versa. We're definitely trying. It looks like they're trying to do everything they can to take advantage of what Jaden Daniels does well, while bringing him along, instead of saying, here it is, learn it, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that a little bit in the offseason, or not offseason, but in the preseason. They allowed Jaden was given free hand to audible, which was nice to see. And out of it came a long bomb to De'Ami Brown. That long bomb in and of itself is part of the reason why they apparently found Jahan Dotson expendable. I'm still not sold on De'Ami Brown doing anything except getting us 100 yards for a season. But they also did a lot of horizontal offense, a lot of quick passing, a lot of left, right movement. 1 to 2 reads, boom, done, over with. Get this ball moving forward. And I think for an offensive line that is as questionable as ours is right now, overall, that's a good way to keep the quarterback comfortable, keep him in a rhythm. And I think that's going to be key to this offense moving forward this season.
I think that's key as well. And we're joined by the Back It Up Binge podcast in the chat saying football can change into play. And I think that's true as well. And, we might have seen that last night with Jordan Love and the Eagles. I know as Commanders fans, he leaves the Giants and you think you're done with the guy, although he was banged up. And this should show how pathetic the Giants are, right? You get Saquon's talent for all these damn years. He gets hurt. He gets bottled up at every game pretty much. It is what it is. First game with the Eagles, it's like a Madden highlight reel. It's like boop, 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 all this stuff. So interesting, incredible how good Saquon looked. But Dev, are you in the same realm of thought as Phil and Steve? And Phil, I thought you brought up a good point. The Jahan Dotson trade, to me, I know he hasn't worked out quite as well as they'd hoped thus far, but I would have held out on him one more season. That was a first-round pick talent right there that, they kind of just let walk for nothing. And De'Ami Brown, I hear all this hype about him every year, I feel like, and then just nothing seems to get put together.
We do too.
I know.
To the Jahan thing, and of course, as a Penn State guy, I was so happy when we drafted Jahan because, I saw him as being I saw him as another Santana Moss, and Santana, is legend around here. And I saw he had very similar ways. He would go up and attack the ball as a smaller receiver. He could take those quick shots and then turn them into big gains. Had that yak ability. Apparently, he's just not a physical guy off the ball, and there's attitude problems. Not all wide receivers are, but it's just he and the coaching staff had a lot of friction, and instead of letting this play out as a drama all year, they just said, nope, bye. A lot of people are just saying, well, new coaching staff, new GM, just let's trust the process. And I say, well, okay, but I'm in the minority in our fan base. I'm the one who says, well, can we at least question whether or not this was the right move? We'll see how it plays out. But on the surface, I got some questions. Are we really going to run with De'Ami Brown and Zacchaeus as our opposites to Terry?
But I think you're looking at it wrong, Phil, because right now Luke McCaffrey is wide receiver 2. So maybe we've all been looking at it wrong.
He slid back to on the depth chart.
Okay.
They shut me out there yesterday because I had an argument with. I tried to say that and then I got proven wrong.
He's not starting slot.
Nope. Noah Brown and Zacchaeus are the other two starters.
Oh.
Yeah, and Zacchaeus, I know him well. He was a Falcon for a little bit. Those guys are. Well, Noah Brown absolutely torched the Buccaneers last year when we played in Houston. But those guys are nice depth receivers. But to me, the Commanders, you look at their wide receiver depth chart, they're crying for a number 2 wide receiver to step up and make himself feel felt. I think
LMC,
they got
baby.
LMC. I'm number 1.
LMC. Dev, what's your thoughts? LMC, Commanders in general.
What do you mean, like on the game or?
Or just on your off season, where you guys stand, how your depth charts look, anything.
I mean, I think we're looking for a number 1 receiver. If you ask me, we need a receiver that would make Terry number 2. I wouldn't want somebody to come in and be just better than De'Ami. I mean, what does that mean? To be honest, but you're right. I think the coach, the ownership change obviously was needed. Coaching change needed. Quarterback change needed. Offensive line change needed. We need another one too. On top of that, we should have replaced 4 of them, bro, not just 3. And defensive ends needed. Linebackers needed. Tight ends needed. I mean, I think I'm with you. I think it's an A+ off season as far as getting rid of the things you need to get rid of and adding pieces that you needed to, and also preparing for the future all at once. So we'll see. I'm like Steve and Phil have also mentioned, we have no idea what this offense is going to look like. I don't know what we're going to do on defense. I don't know what we do. I don't know our identity at all yet. None of us do. So it's going to be interesting. I hope it's enough to catch you guys off guard, by the way.
Yeah, week one's a tough week to play a rookie quarterback with a new head coach, new offensive coordinator. You really never know what's going to be cooked until the field results. And guys, we talked about this the other night on the Command This podcast. By the way, we're live on there right now as well. You guys can check them out on YouTube, Twitter, X, whatever the hell you could call it, and so much more. We'll link them in the bio once the show ends too. But Timmy Crowley, good friend of mine, got his wedding next weekend. Can't even freaking believe it. But
congrats.
Yeah, he's getting hitched up. So hopefully it throws off his fantasy football knowledge, because he is their tough competitor, and I'm hoping the wifey makes him slip a little bit. But me and him will bark about that off camera. But expecting big bounce back. Fellas, we talked about this the other night. I brought this up as a concern for the Bucs because our interior O-line is newer. You know, you got a rookie, a second-year guy, and a free agent guy. Any of you want to grab the floor and give your thoughts on the type of years that Payne and Allen might bring to the table? Again, last year I count as a wash. No pun intended in Washington. It was a wash. You had a lot up in the air. You had a lot of people that seemed to be on the way out with Sweat and Young. I'll get his name right this time. So, Steve, Phil, Dev, any of you have any high hopes for the big years of Payne and Allen, two Pro Bowl All-Pro talents? It really is.
That's exactly the gear I hope they have, an Pro Bowl, an All Pro, one of them maybe type of year. I expect that. I expect them to be able to make guys like Armstrong and I guess Cleveland Farrell. I expect them to make those guys better. I expect them to push the middle of your pocket so that Luvu and whoever we have on the other defensive end, maybe even Javen a little bit, get in there at your quarterback. That's what I'm hoping. But I hope for the best, and I prepare for toilet water.
I love that, man. Your comparisons are unmatched. Fellas, are you in the same boat as Dev?
Yeah, I mean, both guys had a down year last year, and we keep expecting, like we've seen both of them have Pro Bowl caliber years, never at the same time. We want to see it at the same time. If we can get both those guys playing at their best at the same time for a full season, then suddenly you can throw some of my win predictions out the window and add some wins just off of that. Because those two, it always seems like one will have a great year, one has an okay year, and then vice versa. And I want to see if both can have a great year, that all of a sudden this defense just elevates to another level based off of that alone.
Yeah, Steve, what say you? 3 for 3?
Yeah, well, yes and no. So with two stalwart interior defensive linemen, you expect them to be, very stout against the run. And like Dev said, it really helps out the guys on the end too, because you can't, if you focus everywhere, you focus nowhere, right? So if you got two guys in the middle, it requires you to bring in your guards to help out the center, and then it leaves the tackles one-on-one on the outside, which those are our weaker spots on the defensive end. So I would love to see them have that sort of year that I hate to compare them to the Eagles, but the Eagles have a pretty stout defensive front. They've always had, with the Grahams and the Fletcher Coxes and those other guys over the years. I would be nice to see something like that. But you kind of have, we talked about this on our show the other day. The Bucs have great players at each level. You got Villa, you got Winfield, and then you got Levante David. We don't necessarily have that, but if you got two guys up front, our linebacker core is fantastic. The DBs, we don't know, right? So if you got two solid units up front, we'll be okay. I don't know what to expect from those guys. They always produce. They're not sack monsters, but they will stuff the middle pretty well. But I'm not sure about the going against the Bucs offensive line and how that will work out. So.
Yeah, and Bucs O-line seems to be hanging in there, but one part of the Bucs team that's not hanging in there is a defensive line. We might be down 3 defensive line. Man, we're already down 2. Logan Hall's pretty much not going to play. Todd Bowles made that known. Ernest Brown, he actually won our last spot on the active. He is on IR now. He's set to miss the first 4 weeks of the football season. And then around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern time yesterday, a little report was put out there that said Kalijah Cansey is dealing with the same shit he was dealing with before the year last year. And For those unfamiliar that forget, it ended up making Kancey miss the first 4 weeks of the season last year. He tried to play week 1 against Minnesota, had a setback against Minnesota, and it really hurt this Bucs team, although they held their own. But when you have Kancey and Vita Vea next to each other, it's kind of like the same concept as an Allen and a Payne. You put two big boys, physical guys next to each other. Good luck running that football. Then it makes the edge guys better too, right? Because the edge guys get to deal with more one-on-ones as the interiors getting double teamed and whatnot. That's what makes Vita Vea so great. His big ass, he just takes up like 3 blockers, 2 blockers at once and just kind of clogs that. So, guys, if Kalijah Kancey's out, if Logan Hall's out, if Ernest Brown's out, that means we only have 3 to 4 of our D linemen entering the year are active heading into week 1. Do you think that changes the Commanders' game plan at all? Do you think that may make him ground and pound a little more and, maybe reconsider if they were going pass heavy? And again, we've reiterated this. We don't know what the Washington offense might show, but if they had a certain game plan in mind, Steve, we'll start with you. Do you think this changes that at all with the Bucs being so banged up on the front 7 defensively?
Oh, I mean, so you're saying if the Bucs being banged up defensively or offensively?
Defensively. So does that change Washington's offensive game plan?
I don't think it changes the game plan because while we don't know the game plan, like we said earlier, I personally believe it will be a balanced attack. We think it's going to be a balanced attack. So I don't think it changes them. If anything else, maybe they'll run the ball a little bit more. Maybe they'll push the gaps with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler and see what they can exploit with that front 7 being banged up. Maybe even free up a lot. I hope they don't do a lot of deliberate runs for Jaden. Let's keep that to like maybe 4, 5 a game till we can see that he can protect himself. And but let B-Rob just go, man. Let him be the bowling ball we know he can be. And yeah, I would exploit that. You should exploit that. A smart offensive coordinator would exploit that. We thought that would happen last season with all the things we saw. We thought our offensive coordinator would exploit with Eric Bieniemy, and he did 0 of them. So it remains to be seen. But yes, I'd exploit the hell out of that.
Eric Bieniemy, man, what an interesting career he's had. He pretty much didn't get he interviewed for like half the damn league's head coaching jobs, didn't get any of those, seemed to strike out there. And then offensive coordinator wise in Washington, you feel like if he had a good showing last year, he was pretty much primed to, get a raise and a promotion, but certainly not the case. And, good guy, good assistant coach, but for some reason, doesn't seem like he's cut out to be anything more than just an assistant. As we're joined by the man, Neil. Yes, sir. Fired him cannons. Absolutely, Neil. You know what to tell the people as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn that notification bell on. Dev, Phil, what are your thoughts on it? And Steve, I think you make another good point. I know the field was terrible last night. By the way, the NFL should be embarrassed about that field that was played upon last night. You've seen everybody running around like a damn slip and slide out there. You've seen referees getting eaten up by the turf monster. There was a ref that went down. Obviously, Jordan Love goes down at the end of the game. But
I missed all that, man. I was at Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it was bad, man. But I will say this, Dev. You've seen it last night. It's not like Hurts and Love were running a ton either, week 1 at least. So maybe Washington, Dev, comes up with the same game plan and tries to protect Jaden Daniels.
I saw like the first quarter and a half before I left, and man, there were some plays that Hurts was doing that I was like, man, this is amazing. What is this? Like some of those like read option things they was doing and moving the running back out of motion. That stuff was great. I was like, man, that's gonna be hard to mess with because if they just was like, if Philly just plays conservative the whole game, you can't beat them, man. It's like how you beat guys unless they turn it over because they're going to get 3-4 yards every time just running bullshit.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point you made, and great job. And I hate to give the Eagles kudos with some of my favorite fellas on from Washington, but that was a really great job by Kellen Moore, his first game in Philadelphia.
Like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. Hey, you want Jalen Hurts to run. You want Saquon on the flank. You want Dallas Goedert going over the middle. You want A.J. Brown. You want Devontae. It's like, holy shit. Who are you going to stop? Phil, thoughts on the current status of Washington's game plan week 1 and if it changes at all with all these injuries up front for the Bucs?
Well, as a side note, as someone who's a dual American and Brazilian citizen. I do apologize to the Packers and the Eagles for the state of the field last night, but that field's designed for soccer, not football. A little bit more intensive, and you could tell. Now, anyway, moving on.
It was a cool crowd. I will give the crowd that, man. They were on their A game.
Y'all, the Brazilians go nuts for sporting events.
They were definitely prettier than our crowds,
having been there and done that, they go nuts. They go crazy. I'm surprised they didn't hold this in Rio at the Maracanã, but maybe they couldn't schedule it. But that would have been an insane. You want about the most rabid stadium? That would have been nuts if they had gone there. Maybe we'll see it again in future years. Anyway, as far as the stats of Jaden, I think you're going to see Jaden get a couple of designed runs just because you have to. He's too good at not to. Hopefully he gets down, doesn't try to lower his shoulder with 3 yards to the line like Lamar did the other night. But I think that the idea is going to be get Jaden comfortable, get him in a rhythm. Guys like him do well in that rhythm. He especially as a rookie. You get him on his game, and then when he break off and scramble, it's going to catch defenses off guard because you're going to be doing a lot of that short game, a lot of that quick passing game. It's again, as Dev said, death by 1,000 paper cuts, and all of a sudden you don't see a giant blade come out and just slash you because you're waiting for another paper cut. And I think that's going to be the key is that if they get Jaden comfortable, he can be dangerous. It's funny because we spent all off season talking about Jaden versus Drake May, and usually you don't look at the mobile running quarterback as the safer pick. And I said he is the safer pick. He's the one that you're going to get a better guarantee out of in terms of what you're going to get. But it also means that we feel a little more comfortable with, all right, this kid's going to at least give us something. He's got a higher floor, maybe a lower ceiling than Drake May, but ceilings mean nothing unless you touch them. The other thing with Jaden, the other thing about Jaden is
bars.
He has done everything right. This is a kid. We always have to compare. We always compare him to RG3 because of the fact they're both running quarterbacks. They both drafted second. They're both coming off of a Heisman season. So there's an obvious comparison. I think Jaden is a better quarterback than Griffin was coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
I also think Jaden doesn't have the savior complex that Griffin did. Griffin, for reasons both self-imposed and imposed by the fan base and the franchise, was expected to come in and be, Jesus Christ reincarnated at quarterback. Jaden doesn't have that. The fan base doesn't really seem to put that on him. The ownership isn't putting that on him. And Jaden's not putting that on him. And everything he says in these interviews, this kid just shows up, works, and goes home. And he's, one of those first one in, last one out kind of guys. So it's a completely different personality. And I think that's going to lead to completely different results in the long run. I think that he's on a better track to develop to be a top flight quarterback in this league. He's definitely on a better track for that.
Yeah, and I've been on record, and by the way, we are live right now with our friends from the Command This Podcast, Steve, Phil, Dev. We're taking you guys into kickoff, college football game day today, NFL kickoff tomorrow. All my money will be gone in the gambling app, I am sure, here by soon. But fellas, I was telling people, and I live in Chicago, so all I hear is, first round pick chatter, and who the hell, it's automatically Caleb Williams. And I was trying to be on the Jaden Daniels #1 overall train. I was literally telling people, if I had the first pick, which I'm not a GM for many reasons, but if I was, and if I had the first pick of the draft, I was going with Jaden Daniels this year for multiple reasons over Caleb Williams. And, I think Caleb is going to be a good QB. I really do. I think he's going to get his in the NFL. But when you're talking in terms of potential, ceiling, floor being higher, dual athleticism out of the quarterback position, I think that Jaden Daniels' arrow points higher than Drake May. I think his arrow points higher than Caleb Williams. And I think his personality and attitude is better than Caleb Williams as well. And I think you saw a couple times last year in the USC. I mean, Lincoln Riley and USC, there is no way they should have had 5 losses last season. Just no way. That pack was ridiculous. Their defenses are weak and exploited. Caleb Williams folded like a cheap suit. LSU lost week 1 last season. Jaden Daniels persevered them into damn near making a 4-team playoff, which they had no business even sniffing. And, Bucks players do love him as well. He was teammates with Rashad White in Arizona State before he transferred to LSU. Him and Rashad were teammates together in Arizona State. And Rashad White, Monday, actually, because it was a bonus practice on Monday with the holiday, Rashad White actually wore an Arizona State t-shirt of Jaden Daniels into the Bucks locker room. I think that speaks volumes on what type of leader Jaden Daniels is, what type of player he is. I mean, you're having somebody on the opposing side go in there and wear the t-shirt of another player. So I'm in firm belief that Jaden Daniels is going to be better than Drake May, and I think he's going to be better than Caleb Williams. I think all three are good quarterbacks at the NFL level. But I think Jaden Daniels is the best. I mean, if you watch him last year at LSU, this kid could do it all. And that's what Brian Kelly hindering him, that jackass of a head coach at LSU. Yep. I hate Brian Kelly. But to me, the sky's the limit for this kid. And I really don't think there's any stopping him. Steve, kind of give us your thoughts for Sunday. What's up your mind? What do you think happens on that field, 4:25 Eastern on Sunday?
Yeah, so the line right now, I don't know if it's shifted yet, but as of this morning, it was still 3.5 that I saw at the Bucks. So home team usually gets 3, so they're calling it a half-point swing. So who knows? I still think it's going to be a closer game than people think, but I still think the Bucks come out on top, 27-24. But all I want to see, though, is that our offense looks competent and that, Jaden shows that he has composure and that he can run an NFL offense. He can make the reads he needs to make. He can know when to live to fight another day. That's what I'm looking for this whole season. Not necessarily wins and losses, but I need to know Jaden Daniels is our guy because if not, it's going to be all for nothing.
I agree as well. I think this is a year, again, as nice as playoffs would be, as nice as, doing all that stuff, it's the little things this year for Washington. It's making sure Jaden Daniels has the right development to get him ready for his future. It's to make sure, you guys are playing competent football, which I think Dan Quinn does both of those things this year. I really do. Our favorite Canadian joins us, Pep and Steppen, saying Brian Kelly is trash. Yeah, I mean, if you're a recruit, I don't know if I could go to LSU, man.
He did some good things with Nussmeier over the weekend. They look pretty decent.
Yeah, they just, I don't know, man. To me, USC upending them week 1. I get it. It's in Vegas, and I think USC is going to be good this year with Miller Moss at quarterback. I really do. But LSU can never win the big game with Brian Kelly, and that was his problem at Notre Dame as well. He always crapped his pants, and, Jaden Daniels never crapped his pants, and he has a high ceiling, so we'll go with that. Phil, Sunday, tomorrow, we're about, what the hell are we? If I could tell time, we're about 31 hours from kickoff, roughly 31 hours from kickoff, something like that. What do you think we see on the field tomorrow, 4:25 Eastern, when the Bucks and Commanders, when toe meets leather?
I think that we're going to see it's going to be a case of a real test for our team right off the bat. Like I said this on Thursday night. Bucks are a playoff caliber team. We weren't last year. We turned over almost 75% of the roster. We have no idea what we are this year. But at the same time, it also means the Bucks don't know what we are this year. So I think that that's going to lend itself to a very, very interesting game. I do think the Bucks they got it out. I predicted 26-24. But it's going to be a close one. You're going to see some surprise plays. We know that if we go off of last year, the Bucks should get their points, they should get their yards, especially because we know some of the personnel in our defensive backfield not exactly shining examples of pass coverage and pass defense. But we also know that you have this X factor in Jaden Daniels. We supposedly should be a lot more bullish on our wide receivers than the depth chart claims we should. We have tight ends that can get you to first downs repeatedly, multiple ones. Zach Ertz, John Bates, and Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott has been the pleasant surprise. He has been as advertised so far this preseason. So I'm definitely interested to see what happens. But I do think that in the end, Bucks will get it. I predicted before the season started that this was going to be a loss for us, and I'm not changing that just yet.
And speaking of Ben Sinnott, our own J-Lo says don't sleep on him being this year's Sam Laporta. I think that would be quite a pleasant surprise for Commanders fans and the Commanders fan base in general. I think it's going to be a tough fought battle out there. Dev, what say you? You have this being a close one? Do you have Jaden Daniels being a Maserati like you would hope?
I hope he's not just a Jaguar or nothing. No offense to Jaguars, but I think that Tampa Bay is the better team. But I think that we could catch them from, like we said earlier. I think we could catch them slipping because no one knows what to expect. And you have some things that are injured, and we have two really good running backs. I think we have two running back ones, and with a team with a defensive line battered up and beat up, I can see us pulling one out, man. I got us winning 24-21, and like I said again, that doesn't mean that the Commanders are better than the Buccaneers. I don't think that's the case. I just think that we can catch them slipping, about like we caught the Saints slipping in 2012. I feel like we can catch them. Yeah, I mean, almost like Green Bay caught Philly slipping last night.
Yeah, and that's the thing with week one. You never know. You never know. So I think Washington does come and play tough. I think they play really damn tough. Again, I don't think it's enough to upend the Bucks, but you never know. That's why they play the games. Speaking of playing the games, Steve, I think you guys are giving away a Forbes signed mini helmet. Is that right? How can people partake in that giveaway?
So on the show yesterday, we had our predictions that we normally do, kind of like to lock them in on during the show on the live show. But if they went in and locked in their scores with us on the pregame show, we had about 10, 12 people. If someone nails it, we'll give away the signed Emmanuel Forbes, and then on Monday we'll probably give away our Clinton Portis jersey, signed anniversary jersey, just for fun. But last year I would say we had nobody hit a score like dead on. So it's always a fun game to play.
Man, we're playing scoregami out here. Hard to predict this shit out here. Modern day football, you get all these offensive minds. They go for two. It screws up the whole damn game. Next thing you know, you got a 6 or 4 or 5 in the damn score. But yeah, we're going to be set. Last year, we gave some away, mini helmets and Bucks merch and stuff like that. But we'll be giving away if we win, we reward the people, So if the Bucks do win this weekend, we'll be giving away a Luke Godecki signed mini helmet as well. He's our starting right tackle, 2nd round pick out of Central Michigan, good old Chippewa. We had a little deal with Godecki where we got some signed stuff, and
nice.
We're happy to give it away here. So speaking of giving away, I thought I was going to have to put out the National Guard for Joey Nips. He's joining the show. We're going to do a little crosstalk here with the Command This Pod, and Joey, first off, how the hell you doing? And second off, our friend Phil here, he brought up AEW tonight. Me and you will be there. So I thought that was cool to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, gentlemen. Good afternoon, wherever the heck we are at right now. It is a great day. Fall weather is here, especially in the Chicagoland area. And it is time for, like you said, we have wrestling weekend with AEW. Big day for everybody's football teams tomorrow. Only half of us could win, so half of us will walk out of the weekend very disappointed. So let's live it all up right now. Let's have a good Saturday. The college slate, I call it Little Week. A lot of people are playing the Little Sisters of the Poor today, so we'll see what happens. But going to be a great day. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to meet you.
Fellas,
nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's Joey Nips, friend of the program, brother of the program. He does his wrestling podcast. He hops on every Saturday, and we give our bets of the weekend, talk college football, talk wrestling. We get distracted as all hell here. We talk anything that really comes to mind. And fellas, feel free. Command this, fellas. We go until 12 or I'm trying to think Eastern time. Yes, we go to 11:55 a.m. Eastern. So if you guys, when we're done previewing Bucks Commandos, want to stick around and talk football, feel free. If you guys need to hop out, feel free as well. But we're going to go ahead and give our score predictions right now. I know, Dev, you already gave yours. So you gave 24-21. And we're also going to give our good guys, bad guys, depending how you're watching. But, we'll give our player of the game predictions as well for both sides of the ball. So, Steve, score. I know we got it on Thursday in your show, but if people didn't catch us, give it here and give us your Bucks and Commandos player of the game.
Yep, score 27-24 Tampa. You said player of the game for each side? Each team?
But, that's if you could think of a Bucks.
Yeah, so I think starting for the Bucks, I think the player of the game is going to be
Miles Mike Evans. Why you think?
Yeah, well, I was going to say Chris Godwin only because, the focus is a lot of times on the wide receiver one. Our cornerbacks are huge question marks. We have Mike Sammer still a second-round pick, but I think if the focus is on Mike Evans, that might free up Chris Godwin to show, a little bit of the youth in him. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Chris Godwin on the left, and then for the right side for the Commanders, I'm going to say player of the game for us is going to be I'm going to go with Brian Robinson. I feel like they're just going to feed him a rock. He's going to show that he can be that bell cow. Ever since he shot in the leg here in D.C., let the guy eat. He's never had the chance. Like I said, Eric Bieniemy was allergic to running the ball. So Brian Robinson and Chris Godwin.
Hey, we do have a question for you fellas coming in from Lucas Pettis. How you doing, Lucas? Good morning. Happy College Football Saturday to you. It's been reported you guys might do a rotation at left tackle, I should say. Anyone know an answer there? Who might we see more? Who's going to start? Phil, it looks like you know what you're going to say.
It's Brandon Coleman.
I disagree. I disagree. I think
they just had an article. They just saw an article, man. I'm not lying. On I want to say it was Google News or whatever, and it said that Quinn was like,
he's going to play.
He's ready to go. Then they said you'll see some what's the name corn in there too.
Why would you start a guy who's not a true left tackle, played 0 snaps in the offseason, battling injuries, and just out there and start him?
Coleman was
been coaching him every day.
College. He's not true left
tackle. I'd go with Cornelius Lucas, man.
See, I don't get. I mean, apparently his knock is his athleticism at tackle. It was his technique. He leaned a lot, but he was also injured his senior year, which is why he leaned a lot. I think that
Tampa Bay's D-line's injured.
But then again, I mean, look, we were just arguing in our group chat before and during this podcast about the depth chart because that's shifted since yesterday. Yeah. So, they got Luke McCaffrey's now a starter, apparently, as of today. Yesterday, he was not. So, I think that they're doing some what we call Shanahanigans.
Let him debut versus New York Giants next week.
All the time.
Let him go against the Giants next week. I'm more worried about the Bucks than the Giants. I would preview Coleman next week instead of this week, man.
Well, I think here's the thing: if Cornelius Lucas doesn't play well, they'll just put Coleman in and be like, "Bro, you're starting the rest of the way anyway." I think it's going to be Brandon Coleman throughout the season. Maybe they don't put him in tomorrow as a starter, but he is going to be the guy they're looking at for moving forward. Just the injury in the preseason kind of kept him out from really being seen. I guess I was going my score prediction since I'm already running my mouth.
Cool.
I say 26-24 Bucks. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to have that weird scoregami thing going on a little bit, but just because.
Yeah, I like that, man, and it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a tough fought battle. 26-24 ain't bad. We'll see if we could get Phil back here a little bit, but we did get Dev's now. We got Steve's, and we also got Steve's player of the games. Joey, I know you're a third party here. Bucks 78 says Bucks by 7. Plus, it's Phil. We have you back. You want to give us your player of the games, quick, my friend?
Yeah, my internet did a random reset.
No, you're good.
I say that player of the game for the Bucks is going to be Mike Evans. I think that Sanders still is not going to be covering your all's 1. He's going to be in the slot. He'll cover the 2. So that means that Mike Evans is going up against Forbes and St. Juste. He'll eat. Unless Forbes has really come around the way that they claim he has, I don't feel as confident just yet. So I'm going to say Mike Evans is going to be the MVP of the game for the Bucs. For the Commanders, I'm going to go to the same position. I'm going to say Terry McLaurin. I think he's going to have a big game. I think that in this offense, it's a lot of it's getting Jaden comfortable. Was a better way to get a quarterback comfortable, to get him in a rhythm with your number 1 wide receiver. So I think that you're going to see Terry go off for 7-8 catches, over 100 yards and a touchdown. So I think you are going to see that out of Terry. So I'm going to give Terry my nod for potential MVP for the Commanders.
Well, that would definitely be scary if he did go off for that much yardage. And, hey, he's been a proven wide receiver, so wouldn't put it past him. Dev, we got your score. Who you going with for your player of the games on each side of the ball, my friend?
Mike Evans for you guys. For us, I think it's going to have to be Jalen. It's going to be Daniels, man. I think the team's going to go as he goes. If we do rely on the run, I still think it's Jaden. I think that's going to be the guy. I think the game plan is probably your guys' game plan is probably going to be around him as well. Personally,
yeah.
Well, I got an eye for everybody listening. I got an eye infection. I don't know. I took my contacts out before the pod, and my eyes are going crazy.
Hey, man, we're glad you could make it because you are a treat and a hoot. So you're battling through an eye infection. That's tougher than some of these pups do on game day, Deb. So maybe Washington's got to throw you shoulder pads and a helmet to get the hell out there and be a
if you give him a month, Dev can run a 4.640.
Hey, that's right.
Must be those lungs, you know what I'm saying?
Especially when you put a cop behind me, I can get in there. I still got to get away from the cop speed, you know. So have that.
All right, I do have to run, but I'm going to throw this in as an add-in. Swerve versus Hangman cage match tonight will be your surprise 5-star match of the evening.
And not Swerve, and not dude, that'll be a fun one. Phil, we're gonna have to have you on Cleve and Me wrestling podcast. We talk all things wrestling, AEW, WWE, and all that stuff. So
it's gonna be
the
last one. Last one was violent as all hell. This one's gonna be violent as all hell too.
We're looking forward to it. Phil, thanks again for joining us, brother. We appreciate you, my friend. We'll be chatting throughout.
Good day. Enjoy your football. Good luck tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow to you too, brother. You are the man. That's a great Phil Credible. And enjoy AEW tonight as well, Phil. Joey, give us your thoughts. Commandos, Bucks. How do you see this thing shaking out?
Yeah, well, first off, you mentioned Scary Terry a little bit. I'm a big Colts fan over here. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago now, is Sam Ehlinger versus Heineke and Lucas Oil. And Heineke flung one up to Scary Terry with like a couple minutes to go off Stephon Gilmore. And Scary Terry, Indiana native, grew up, born here, just caught the ball, touchdown, I believe, or got close to it. And the game was pretty much over, signed, sealed, so delivered. So I'll go with him for the player of the game as well, just because he scarred me once. I believe he's one of their most consistent pieces they have right now. A lot of new pieces there, as we all know, from the coaching staff down. So I'm interested to see how that turns out. Also interested to see how Jaden Daniels performs. I'm a fan of his. I think, it might take a few games. Even Peyton Manning in his first season threw the most picks ever. So these things don't happen overnight. I'm not going to be concerned if he struggles in this game a little bit. I'm just excited to see what the young athlete can do. And then on the Bucs side of the ball, they got new defense over there, a little obviously new scheme in place and stuff. I think a Bucs veteran offense with a lot of pieces can make plays down the field. I look for Baker Mayfield to try to maybe be a little aggressive early, which will help out Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White, a lot of people are sleeping on this season. This is another full season where he doesn't have, to me, a ton of pressure behind him in terms of somebody right on his heel. This is his running backfield. I think he'll have a pretty good day. So I'll go Rachaad White on the Bucs side of things. And for a score, man, this is one of the harder games to predict because when a team is so new with a rookie quarterback, you never know if they're going to start off on the right foot or they're going to, boom, Washington's up 14-0 all of a sudden. The Bucs are like, what the hell is going on? I'll go Tampa Bay 24, Washington 17.
Yeah, we all have a feel of it's going to be a close game, a lot of close scores. Pretty much we all have it being a one-score game or less. And for those of you who gamble out there, you Vegas watchers, the line is moving in Washington's favor, which means the money's coming in on Washington. Opened up about 4.5 point favorite the Bucks did. Now it's down to 3.5, depending what line you're looking at, what sports book you're looking at, etc. We are live here on our Saturday showdown, our football kickoff weekend show with the great command this podcast, Steve, Phil, and Dev. Phil had a dip. We're going to get the final words on Bucks Commanders from the fellas. And then again, fellas, feel free to hang, feel free to bounce. Whatever you guys want to do is cool with us. But Steve, we'll start with you. Final word for game day tomorrow. What say you?
I'm excited, man. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a very close, hard-fought game. I just want to see competency from Jaden Daniels. I think it's going to be a hot and humid one down there in Tampa, as I've been hearing about. So I think that might play a factor, man. Cramps, hydration, electrolytes, all that stuff matters. But it is a 4:00 kickoff. But yeah, I'm excited. I think Tampa Bay will pull it out. It'll be very, very close. I think the Commanders can cover if it stays at 3.5. If you go back and look at all the over-unders on the props of the yardage that we win on Thursday, you could make a lot of money. I went and laid out like a 10-swing parlay on over-unders for Bucks, and I just feel like some of those numbers are just stupid low on the Buck side, especially on the Buck side for some of these receiving yards. And, Mike Evans at 60 yards over-under. Come on. Rashad White at 58 yards over-under. Come on. Like, you got to play those. Go play those. Go drop a couple bucks, man.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
And the cool thing is when you do bet both, yeah, it still stings when a big play happens, but it's like, all right, at least that's towards my pockets a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So makes the game a little more it's like fantasy football on steroids a little bit because you get the payday right then and there. Dev, I know you're battling all kinds of stuff over there, my friend. What say you? Your final word for game day tomorrow? Toe meets leather, 4:25 on Fox.
Man, I'm just hoping that I'm not hoping it's a good game. I was going to lie and say that I hope we blow you guys out, actually, but it's not. That's not going to happen. But I hope that we do play a fought game if we do lose. But yeah, I think we can sneak one off on you guys, man. Again, I think it's going to come down to turnovers, in my opinion. Baker's going to give you a shot at a few of them.
Baker's going to give you he could fumble, he could throw picks. Dev, this is a big year too for Baker, I think, in Tampa.
It is. I think it's a year that could legitimize him as an actual franchise quarterback, or is he just a bridge guy? Or is he a Minshew, or is he a Kirk Cousins at least? Like, you gotta. Which one are you? Are you a legit starting quarterback, or are you a guy that can start till you get a good quarterback?
It's funny you mentioned Minshew because Joey, he's a Colts guy. I'm a Bucks guy. So we kind of called Minshew the Dollar Tree Baker last year.
Man, I should have kept Minshew. Richardson can't throw worth a shit, bro. That dude.
Whoa.
That dude, man. And I like him. Don't get it wrong.
Not so fast, my friend, as the great Lee Corso says.
Lee Corso, Louisville coach. Lee Corso.
Hey, Gardner Minshew, let's not disrespect that man's flow either. Okay, this guy is a stud on those commercials. He is the man with the van. He drives all over the country in that thing. But real talk, Richardson, I mean, we're not here to talk that much, but he's going to show tomorrow. Everybody's sitting all happy on Houston right now. Everyone thinks they're the darling. When you go from last place to a first place schedule, when you bring in a diva like Stephon Diggs, where everyone thinks it will just work out right away, there's going to be some problems in Houston this year. And Rich will stay healthy, and he will lead us to compete in that division. But I know we're here for Bucks talk, but I have to say something when you see something. It's just like, on the outside.
Hey, talk anything you want, man.
I mean, he can make some plays. He's gonna be like, oh my God, you see what he did? But then he's gonna be like, oh my God, you see what he did?
It's like a scary movie. You got some.
Yeah. He's like craptacular, if that's the word you use for him.
Wow.
He's like ass-tastic.
Hey, well, we'll leave that for the Rated R show. But Jordan Love, it does seem like we have some news back there, fellas. Initial tests come back. ACL is intact, but he has to go through more MRIs and whatnot when they get back from Brazil. So
strain probably. Hey, come get Mariota off our hands, man. Come get him.
We got Hartman.
Green Bay got Malik Willis. Now, speaking of Hartman, he was a Notre Damer.
He was.
How do Washington fans feel about Sam Hartman? Quick.
The girls love him.
Yeah.
He's John Wick reincarnated. I don't know if you saw his 40
he still
video.
got that flow?
He cut his hair actually.
Oh, okay.
He just cut it a couple weeks ago, but he got cut and they signed him back to the practice squad. So, but we have Mariota and Jeff Driscoll. So Jeff Driscoll can run the defense, man. Jersey can move. He got some wheels. Let's come get Mariota off our hands. But honestly, we were talking about Green Bay should go get Tannehill, man. If they're smart, he's sitting on the couch, and then Malik can back up Tannehill again.
Yeah,
go get RG3. You got a job.
True story.
Malik Willis is what he is, right? I didn't really get that move for Green Bay too much, but Mariota makes a little more. But Tannehill, to me, if Love misses anything more than 4 weeks, which it seems like that's a good possibility at this point, I think you got to go ahead and get Tannehill. But fellas, we are going to start talking some other NFL and college. Like I said, feel free to tag along. Feel free to hop out.
I'm gonna take care of this eye, man.
Yeah, I got soccer, brothers. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, we appreciate the soccer dad. We'll give you guys some music on the way out. We're gonna call Steven our soccer dad over here. But Steve and Dev, you guys are awesome. Phil was awesome as well. Give one last plug to your guys' show, your guys' pod, where the people can find you, keep up with you, and all that.
OnlyFans at Husky Muscle is where you'll find us.
Instagram.
Pics going.
Husky Muscle. No, I appreciate it.
I'm selling feet pics.
You can find us anywhere you get your podcast or YouTube. Command This podcast. We're everywhere. You can come find us. Appreciate you, everyone who joined from our channel. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you jump over to the Buccateers channel and hit that like and subscribe if you want, but at least hit that like button for us. We would greatly appreciate it as we do these future content creator collaborations. Man, it's always fun to talk to other creators and may the best team win.
Yeah, and
look at my eyes, man. Don't eat butt. I don't do that.
And fellas, well, don't eat ass. That's
don't
the one
eat ass.
thing.
That's right.
Do if your wife wants you to. It's happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's damn right. And remember, guys, we are going to be doing more collabs with the Command This podcast in the future. We are a Saturday football show, so whether it's Bucks or non-Bucks, fellas, we'd love to get you guys back on here on another Saturday. But Steve, Dev, stay away from those booty cheeks, and good luck on the battlefield tomorrow. We appreciate it. We appreciate both you guys. Steve, good luck at soccer, brother.
Take care, guys. Appreciate you.
The great Steve and the great Dev and the great Phil out of the house for the Command This. Joey, that was fun. Now it's me and you here in the pro. Does Dev want to say? Dev, you want?
How about this dumbass magic mouse I got? I hit it, but I slapped it and it took me off.
You good, man?
But thanks, man. Thanks for having us. You have a good day.
Yeah, thanks to you, Dev. You the man. Stay away from those cheeks, all right, my friend. The great Dev right there in the house, out of the house, all about. Joey, I like the crosstalk. That was fun. Speaking of fun, we got a real fun college slate. Joey Nips, Tampa Tones here, going to take you guys up to about 20 more minutes or so right before kickoff. The great J-Lo's out. Gene said he's hungover as all hell. So
what the hell is that?
You know, J-Lo's on dad duties, Gene's hungover. What can you do? Joey, we're going to start with our Colts preview, get into breadwinners a little bit, then to get into some big games today and tomorrow and see what's going on. So quickly, 60 seconds or less, my friend. Colts, Texans tomorrow. I know you talked about it a little bit earlier with Anthony Richardson and the boys from the Command This podcast, Phil, Dev, and the gang. But what say you on the state of Colts, Texans heading into tomorrow for the big week one showdown?
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's going to be a lot of people on Houston. Spread is, I think, -3 right now for a road division game. You don't see that very often when you have two teams. Last year, just a year ago, the Colts lost by 10 yards with Gardner Minshew throwing the ball to our third string running back at that time. So we got Anthony Richardson back. We have Jonathan Taylor back. Defense, very cohesive, a lot of returning players. In fact, all 22 starters that were on the depth chart from a year ago, when healthy, are now going to be intact this season. And we'll see how we step up to the game. Houston has a hard schedule right out of the gate. They come to us, and then I think they're home against Chicago for their opener, but then it gets a lot harder from there. So I'm looking for the Colts to be competitive. It's going to be close. I hope we come out on the right side of things. If I had to give you a score prediction, I'll go Colts 27, 7. That's how much I believe in Steichen, and I'll go Texans 23 and what will be a barn burner. I really think, it just comes down to, they guys talked about it earlier with Anthony Richardson. I don't really worry about the arm. He can throw the ball. I just worry about more staying on the field. As much as I love Joe Flacco being a backup, I don't want to see him that much this season. You told me to keep it to a minute. I am. I'll shut up now. Go Colts.
No, you're good. I mean, we're here. We're chatting here on the Buccateers. We're also live right now on the Command This podcast as well over there. So real cool getting dual peeps in the house. And I think the Colts end up beating the Texans as well. I got the Colts winning a close one, 23-21. Got them winning on a late field goal from their backup kicker. It looks like
Notre Dame kicker.
Looks like Matt Gay will be out. So give me Colts 23-21 in an upset, 1 o'clock Eastern time. That game's on CBS, I believe, tomorrow. Joey, we do have a huge college slate today, and we have been pretty damn good in totality for our bread winners on the year.
What is up with this college slate, though? They gave us one good game at 11.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that and critique that. And, the college schedule makers can get a little more better, quote unquote, to say as time goes on. Been disappointed with last week and now this week's slate, to be quite honest. But Joey, we're going to go around here and do our breadwinners. For those wondering, breadwinners are our bets of the weekend, and we like to win you guys money. So we don't see sports bias. We don't see, hey, you got to stick to this sport. You got to stick to this game. We do any game that wins you that bread, any game that wins you that cheddar. And we're 5-2 on the season. You could bet money lines. You could bet favorite spreads, overs, unders, football, baseball, college football, whatever. But Joey, you were the lone winner last week. We went 1-2 on the week last week, but still on the year, we're 5-2 overall. And if you guys have been listening to us on the year, you're still positive $119 in your piggy bank at 5-2 overall. So we did get a text from J-Lo. We got J-Lo's breadwinner ready to roll. And Lucas shares his. He says McMillan anytime touchdown for the Bucs. So Lucas is saying bank that. Joey, do you have your breadwinner in mind? And if you do, my friend, are you going to move from 2-0 to 3-0 on the season?
Oh, that's what we're all about here. Like you said, about making the people some cash. I'm going to stick with baseball. I'm 2-0 right now. Go in that direction. I'm going to try to make it 3. I know it's not the most famous pick with all this football and great fall feels going on, but I'm doing it anyways. I'm going to take you to the Midwest, where the Twins and the Royals have a battle going on today. And let me see here, make sure it stayed the same. I will take the Royals on the money line, which is plus 115 for the Royals. So I'm giving a little plus today. I just think at home with Alec Marsh on the mound, they'll get it done. And that game's at 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central. So my breadwinner will be the Royals money line.
Royals money line. Man, let me tell you, you're doing great in baseball. Is tough. I bet some games this past week, and it's like, I bet on the Orioles the one time they lost to the Sox, and then I'm betting on the Brewers or losing to the Rockies. It's like, holy shit. But Joey has been 2-0 in the world of baseball, and he's looking to continue that today.
Once that goes away, I'm out on baseball.
Yeah, hey, you got to ride the hot hand, though. You got to ride the hot sport. That's what bettors do, and that's the smart thing to do there. So kudos to that. I like that as well. J-Lo did text in his breadwinner. He's going with the risky one. He won week 1 on his risky one. And last week, I could tell the kid wanted to take Boston College so damn bad. He mentioned him, and then he pivoted to some hellhole of a game. So we won't get into
take his pants off too. Hands up.
Yeah, well, we'll save that for a rated R show as well. But
with the Redskins guy.
Yeah, Dev is the man. He said too much booty for him last night. Got him pink eye, but they're awesome, man.
Hope it's the good kind.
Yeah. J-Lo's going for Michigan money line as his breadwinner, and they're an underdog. And let me see what that line is at.
It's why you look for that. I thought it'd be worse than that. I mean, I know a lot of people are big on Texas with Quinn Ewers at the quarterback spot. I do love my boy Manning there, but Michigan's at home, right? This isn't the big house. Anything's possible. I know they got a lot of new pieces. They went to the one of the younger teams in the league versus a veteran staff. They have a new offensive line, but it is in Ann Arbor, so anything's possible.
And I agree with that. I think, and these college football lines are dart throws to begin the year. They don't have preseason games. They don't have training camps. Yeah, they got practices and stuff like that, but it's hard to get direct intel. If you put $20 on Michigan money line and they do win, which is J-Lo's breadwinner, you get $41 back. So pretty damn good return there. And for those that forget, J-Lo's breadwinner in week 0 was Georgia Tech money line. So
I looked at him like he was damn crazy.
And he was going to go Boston College again last week, but again, little balls and had to back out, but don't blame him. So today so far, we got Joey on the Royals plus 115 money line, J-Lo Michigan money line. So both of those would net you positive returns there. That's always a good sign when you're looking into betting. And today I'm going with my lock of the day. I think it's going to be a fun one. I got a little bit of a parlay action on our hands here. And see, this is what we do. We do any bet you can make. Some sports shows out there try and restrict you what you can take and what you could bet and recommend. No, we don't do that here. So I got a fun parlay for you guys. Both of these are 12 o'clock kickoffs, so in a matter of 14 minutes. So go get these two in. Kansas State money line, UConn money line, and then Wyoming kicks off around 3:30. Money line parlay, K-State, UConn, Wyoming. Kansas State plays Tulane today. UConn plays Merrimack, and Wyoming plays Idaho. So I think you combo those three. You put $20 on that, you get $19 back right there. So you're only losing $1. So once again, our breadwinners of today, we are we're 5-2 on the year, plus $119 entering right now, living the good life. Joey has the Royals, plus 115 on the money line. J-Lo is Michigan, plus 205 on the money line. And then I have Kansas State, UConn, Wyoming money line parlay. You put $20 on that, you win back 19. Joey, how you feeling about our breadwinners?
Feeling fantastic. If you're not going to go in with positivity and, a little confidence, why you betting in the first place? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be confident about everything we're doing here, and it's showing right now in the money wise. So if you've been following your plus money, don't be that sucker with moths in your wallet like Timmy C. So just be a real one. So
hey, he was actually on here earlier, Timmy C.
Like commenting?
Yeah, he was commenting about the Commanders Bucks big matchup. So
sorry to hear.
At least we got a little Timmy C action there. Speaking of action, Joey, we're going to go around now. College football, we're going to bring up some of the big matchups. We're going to get started here right away. Then we're going to talk some fantasy NFL and hop out of here in about 13 minutes or so. We got a great loaded show today, a tight show today. But Penn State minus 34 against Bowling Green. That game's a 12 o'clock kickoff here in about 12 minutes, Joey. Last week, Penn State went into West Virginia and took care of business. Minus 34, over under 51. How do you see this one shaking out today? Penn State home against Bowling Green in their home opener.
Oh, I mean, first off, I love what I saw out of Drew Aller last week.
We were waiting for that all of last year, and finally last week he looked really good.
That's exactly it. And I'm not saying West Virginia was the biggest competition, but man, that place was filled with hillbillies. Tough place to play. Had a lot of momentum coming into the season, and really Penn State just took it to them. We'll see what happens from here on out, but I do like that sign. That's the only thing we always waited for with Penn State was how do you get the offensive rolling, especially through the quarterback position with consistency throwing the football. So I really like that. And if that continues today, they are going to take Bowling Green to the shed. Hopefully Bowling Green got a nice piece of gym equipment out of this because they might get rolled by 40 plus.
Yeah, I got Penn State winning this one like 40 to 7-ish in that range, barely covering, but they are right around the cover mark. Could be a coin flip, but I do like Penn State to roll them out, blow them out. I do like the under in this game. I think Penn State gets a nice enough lead and then stifles Bowling Green's offense, but that's one of the big games of noon. Joey, looking around noon elsewhere, Kansas State at Tulane. Tulane's at home. The Green Wave are plus 9.5. Who you going with there? Kansas State minus 9.5 or Tulane plus 9.5?
Boy, oh boy. If I really had to make a prediction on this one, I always like the team that's more positive in that direction, I'll go Kansas State -9.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with K-State as well. As we're going to bump some tunes here as we preview the world of college football and NFL football for this big weekend. Once again, you guys are joining our Super Saturday show or Saturday Showdown kickoff show. We are here every Saturday live, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, all the way up till kickoff, previewing Bucs games, Colts games, NFL games, college games, fantasy, gambling, and so much more. Give me Kansas State over there. Joey, this one's a fun one. Georgia Tech, they're ranked now undefeated at Syracuse, who's 1-0 on the year as well. Syracuse is +3 at home against Georgia Tech. How do you see that one slicing out?
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be on Georgia Tech after this hot start, which how can you blame them? As you mentioned, they went overseas to take on Florida State in Dublin and dubbed them down. Then they had a nice win last week again. So, man, I mean, really, I'd like to see it. I'm going to go Syracuse, even though I don't know a lot about them right now. I do think, when there's just too many bets going one way and a lot of people have this much positivity on Georgia Tech, I'm going to take Syracuse since they are at home to at least cover. I'm not saying they'll for sure win, but I think Syracuse will cover this game.
Yeah, ever since Syracuse got rid of Dino Babers, Eastern Illinois' old coach, they've been looking on the up and up, it seems. So we'll see how that one goes. Texas, Michigan +6.5, 41.5 over under. Joey, how do you see that one shaking out? That's probably the biggest game of the morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's the biggest game of the morning, the biggest game of the day. It's going to be so fun to watch, I think, because at least, and that, to me, if it was in Texas, they might have honestly been able to get behind that crowd early and maybe possibly take it to them. Looking at some of the statistics and things of that nature here, you cannot go off much that these teams have done. A lot of playing teams worse with them, not a lot of competition. 6.5, that is a lot of points to be going on the road and giving that up. However, I think Texas wins this game by 7. I'll go Texas 27, Michigan 20.
Yeah, I hope Michigan wins for our breadwinners. I really do hope so for J-Lo's fate as well. I see, you know what? Fuck it. Give me Michigan in the upset. I got Michigan 20-17. I think Michigan keeps it close. Joey, another big game today. This one's 3:30 Eastern time. Baylor on the road against Utah. Utah, 14.5-point favorites. What say you in this one? Is these two Big 12 team? Yeah, because Utah's in a different conference now. These two Big 12 teams kick off for battle.
Yeah, I really wanted to see so far, even though it wasn't against much competition, but what Cameron Rising has been up to. And of course, he only has the one game under his pocket right now, but let's be honest, it was a good one. He was only 10 of 15 in terms of total throws, but he was 254 yards, and he settled in pretty nicely. I was very curious to see what was going on there. So I'll go with Cameron Rising in Utah. Give me the flow of Mr. Cameron Rising.
Yeah, and Cameron Rising's one of those kids who's been around for a minute now, too. He's been in the world of college football for a long time, so he's got the experience, that's for sure. I like Utah there as well. As we have Mr. H texting in. Finally, there you are, Mr. H. We've been missing you saying Husker Talk.
Hey!
We're only a few minutes away from Husker Talk, so hang in there and join us for that. Big Ten battle, Michigan State, Maryland. I'll handle this one. Michigan State +8.5 on the road at Maryland. I would take Michigan State getting the 8.5 points. I think Maryland wins, but I think Michigan State covers. That's a 3:30 Eastern kickoff there. And moving our way in, we got a big ACC battle, Joey. A big ACC SEC tilt here. California, newfound members of the ACC, taking on Auburn of the SEC. 3:30, Auburn's -12. Do you like that game more, or do you like Iowa State taking on Iowa at 3:30 more? What do you think is the better game of those?
I always like the rivalry more if you want to go that direction. But I mean, hey, Auburn, I'm always intrigued by. I've always kind of had I like watching Auburn games, in SEC football, even though that's all getting goofed up now. But Iowa State, what did you say the spread was for that one?
That one is, sorry, I did not list it. Iowa's minus 2.5 at home, 3:30 kickoff. Over under down to 35.5.
Wow. That game might put you into a comatose. It's on CBS.
Pink eye like our guy Dev.
It's on Paramount TV. I see. McNamara, I remember him a little bit at Michigan. And since I know him a lot better than Iowa State's quarterback, give me Iowa minus 2.5. They don't have the punt god anymore, so they might have to go for it a little bit. Give me the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I like the Hawkeyes there. I love the under in that game, and I'll give him a shout out. That's a summarized special. That's one of his of the day. He likes the under in Iowa State. So I'm riding with that one too. Joey, this one has special meaning to me. That's why we're going over it. Friend of the program, Anthony Gator, defensive backs coordinator for Florida International. They covered, but, they fought hard in Indiana last week. Indiana scored over 70 points last night, so that even impresses me with FIU's opening performance a little bit more. This game's at 6 o'clock Eastern, Joey. The Fighting Anthony Gators are getting 4.5 points at home against the Chippewas of Central Michigan. I like Anthony Gator and the points in that one. Give me the Fighting Panthers of FIU. What say you?
I know you gave this one. Give me that spread again.
4.5. Florida International's getting points at home against Central Michigan.
I'll support your boy. This is for the Buccateers. That's right. This one's straight out of the heart, but give me FIU and the points.
Let's go Fighting Anthony Gators. Joey, this one's a lot of fun. And for those that forget, South Florida was tied with Alabama for almost an entire half of football last year. Now South Florida travels to Alabama today. Denny Bryan Stadium, 7 o'clock Eastern. USF getting 30.5 on the road at Alabama. Give me the points all day. I'm taking the 30.5 in South Florida. What say you?
I'm going to go against South Florida here. I can't keep the magic alive when it comes to the shiny state and our beloved. So I'm going opposite of you on this one.
Colorado, prime time. This is a fun one. Prime and Matt Rule square off here. 7:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. Prime time game for Prime and Co. Colorado's getting 6.5 points as they travel to Nebraska. This feels like it's going to be one of those fun, old school, gritty college football battles, Joey. What say you? How do you see this one shaking out?
Man, oh man, I know. And shout out for Mr. H. Hopefully it doesn't take Nebraska to find the end zone as long as he did to find this podcast. But I think a lot of positivity right now in Huskerville up over there. At the same time, I just watched the whole thing on our boy Mr. Hunter playing both sides of the ball. That team came out pretty good last week, but Colorado faltered early last year after their hot start at 3-0 or 3-1, whatever it may be. And Nebraska, I don't care, he just might look a little bit like Mahomes with their new quarterback, Raiola. Anytime you can get that comparison with Mahomes, I'm going to dig that. I hope they wear the bright red tonight and take out Deion's boys. So I'll take actually, I'm going to give Nebraska the point as long as it stays at that 6.5. If it would have went to 7, just like it spread earlier, sometimes that hook gets me. Not so fast, my friends, on this one. Give me Nebraska. I'll give the 6.5 up since they're at home.
Yeah, Mr. H is in preseason mode. He says he can't comment now. So all you do is you go to the comment. It's same as last year, our guy, Mr. H, our Nebraska native. We can't wait to get you back in the chat. But I'm going with Prime and the points. I think 6.5 points is a lot on the road for a team like Colorado. I know it's a lot of fluff and a lot of stuff as such, but give me the points. Give me Colorado on the road with the 6.5. Joey, before we move to a couple NFL, we're going to do our last college football game of the day here, where we have Boise State getting 19 points, traveling to the newfound Big Ten Oregon Ducks. 10 o'clock kickoff. That'll be fun. We could get back, watch the second half of that after AEW tonight. Boise State, Oregon, 10 o'clock kickoff. Boise State getting 19 points on the road. Who do you like there?
You know, a lot of people are going to be down on Oregon after last week's performance. Again, I think, what was it, Idaho maybe? They won, but not in blowout fashion. I think they set the record straight today. and take Boise State down. I know a lot of people might like those points. It's damn near 3 touchdowns. Give me the Ducks, quack, quack, all the way to the end zone. Give me Oregon.
Yeah, and now we're going to move to the NFL. Man, that's a tough one. Oregon, Boise State. Boise State played a little too close for comfort last week. Oregon should blow them out, but the 19 points is a lot. I'll go with Boise State to cover. I think they lose by 17 or so, but we'll see. Now getting into the world of NFL, the world of the National Football League. We are here. We are here. We are here. Joey, Titans, Bears, 3.5. Titans are getting 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff tomorrow. Who do you like in that one?
Yeah, even though we're not Bears fans, we are from the homeland of Chicago. And I'm going to go. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be a defensive battle early on. You're not going to see a ton of points. I think Bears edge this one out and cover. They'll win 20-13 at home. I like that. Versus if they were on the road with the rookie QB Caleb Williams. Give me the Bears 20-13.
I'll take the next big time game. Bengals minus 7.5 at home against the Patriots. First time head coach Gerard Mayo. Joe Burrow's back to full health. I like Cincinnati sprinkling the 7.5 at home. 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. I think the Bengals bounce back this year, even without T. Higgins tomorrow, as he's likely out. Even without I think Jamar Chase plays, but just say he doesn't. I think the Bengals still blow out the Patriots over there. We both picked Colts to upset the Texans 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow at home, so we'll soothe over that one. Joey, Battle of the Sunshine State. Jaguars getting 3.5 on the road at Miami 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa. What say you in that battle?
This one has me going back and forth so much. I'm not a Jaguars guy, but I try to take my bias out of it. They stumbled down the stretch to finish 9-8 and missed the playoffs last year, while Miami had that freezing cold game in Kansas City. Here they meet up in the beautiful Sunshine State, as you mentioned. I don't really know who has the quarterback edge. That's the problem for me. I'll go Miami in a close one. I'll go Miami 28, Jacksonville 24.
I like Miami there as well to cover. Give me Miami as well. Tomorrow, 4:05 Eastern, Harbaugh's debut in Los Angeles. Raiders +3 on the road against the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers laying the 3 over there. That game's a 4:05 o'clock Eastern kickoff. Joey, we're going to give you the game of the day tomorrow, 4:25 Eastern. Tom Brady steps into the broadcast booth for the first time. The Cowboys are actually getting 2.5 points on the road here in Cleveland. Mike McCarthy, Kevin Stefanski fighting for their jobs this year. Who do you like in Tom Brady's debut? Cowboys, 2.5 point underdogs on the road in Cleveland.
Man, Dallas, Cleveland, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, both QBs, but a lot to prove this season. Dak has a big contract, so does Watson. Cleveland might find a way to. I was just in Cleveland for SummerSlam. Got to check out that stadium. Those fans are going to bring it, and I think Dallas. Both teams really haven't had a lot of cohesiveness in this training camp. A lot of quarterbacks sitting, not really playing. I'll go Cleveland 24, Dallas 23 in a barn burner. I'm going very close score, so I'll take Dallas to cover.
And we'll go into the last 2 primetime games here before we get to a couple fantasy news and notes, and then our final words. Rams, Lions minus 4.5. That's Sunday Night Football, 8:20 in Detroit. Give me the Rams getting the 4.5 points. I think the Lions might win that one, but I do like the Rams getting that many points. I think Sean McVay has those guys ready. As Olive says, are you ready for AEW? Yes, we are. We'll talk about that here shortly in a minute. Joey, just give us your prediction here on who you think will cover. Jets getting 4.5 on the road against 49ers. Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers returns to California, 8:15.
Yeah, as much as I want to try to like what the Jets might do this year, I feel like, again, there's a lot of people on that train where we don't know where it's going to be. 49ers have been together for so long at home after that tough overtime loss I think they come out guns blazing. And what will still be a pretty good game, but I think the 49ers cover. I'll go San Francisco 23, the Jets 17.
And for those that missed, Joey did share some news on Jordan Love. His ACL is intact, but obviously still has a lot more hurdles to climb, hurdles to clear, see where he's at with that injury. But at least initially, a sigh of relief for now for some Packers fans is Jordan Love's ACL is intact. And NFL, Phil from the Command This podcast, Phil, who was on earlier, the AEW fan and whatnot, he's a Brazil guy as well. And he says that was a joke of a field out there, and he was sorry for that. So again, Jordan Love news seems to be okay. Speaking of Jordan Love, though, Joey, quickly, fantasy results thus far. I know we're only 2 games in, but fantasy football, anything shock you? Anything eye-opening to you this far? Just 2 games into the season?
I mean, no, I do agree with earlier sentiment of the field that we put all this money into the sport, the best thing in America, and we can't even go over somewhere and trust the grass or trust outside the stadium, quite frankly. So that was ridiculous. Happy for Packers fans because even though they lost yesterday, that was a fun game, exciting game. You saw a lot of good out of Jordan Reed and his young receivers, especially Mr. Reed. So they'll just hope he stays healthy on that front end. And then when you looked a little bit at Chiefs Ravens, man, it looks like those 2 teams might be fighting back to get to the AFC Championship. So where can all our teams fill in from there? There's going to be a lot of continuity. There ain't going to be a lot of very, very bad teams versus very, very good. You're going to get a lot of parity. And who's going to stay healthy and who's going to make those few extra plays. I'm excited for football Sunday after watching these first 2. I don't know. Colts Texans has Tiki Barber. I don't know how excited you could get for that, but I'm all bricked up.
The cheat. I'm bricked up as well, but that's a lot of bricks to go around. But yeah, fantasy football, my intrigue of the year is this. Running backs. You're seeing a lot of new quarterbacks take over the round 1 draft stock, a lot more leagues going into 2 quarterback leagues. What have we seen so far out of some high-end running backs? Derrick Henry with a touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco, very effective game. Saquon Barkley went off. Josh Jacobs ended up putting together a nice game. How will guys like Taylor, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and the rest of those early round running backs shape into form this weekend? If they have good days, it could be the year of the running back again in fantasy football in 2024, as we've seen 4 pretty good performances thus far out of 4 running backs. For those still here, Rutgers were marching on Akron, and the Fighting Zips of Akron just got an interception as Rutgers were going into the red zone. So no good.
Rutgers going to Rucker.
Yep, Joey, one last thing we're going to do here, a fun one. Just pick, if you could only watch one of these games, which are you going with? Texas at Michigan, Colorado, Nebraska, Boise State, Oregon.
I'm going to go with the obvious, Texas and Michigan, just because I want to see what Quinn Ewers can do in a big environment on the road against the defending champs. Colorado, Nebraska is a close second under the lights, but I have to go with Texas and Michigan.
The only reason I'm going to go with a bit of a shocker, I'm going to go with Oregon against Boise State for 2 reasons. A, Boise State's predicted to be the 12th seed in a lot of playoff brackets this year, so I want to see them kind of go up against a team that, hey, they might have to go up against Oregon in the playoffs. And B, I want to see if Oregon could shake off that Big Ten rust. They looked a little rusty last week against Idaho. Joey, before our final words, we're going to do the same for NFL now. If you could only watch one of these games, I'm going to pick lesser games, one that we didn't cover yet. Which would you choose? Vikings at Giants, Steelers at Falcons, or would you roll with Denver at Seattle? Vikings, Giants, Denver, Seattle, or Steelers, Falcons?
I'm going to go to Steelers and Falcons just because we don't know really about the Steelers quarter. A lot of talk about Atlanta's quarterback situation with Penix and Cousins. At least we know who's starting there. On the other side, you don't know where it's going to be by the end of the year between Russ and Field. So I'm interested to see how that develops. Pittsburgh's defense is very good. Atlanta seems to have some star power, but will it actually live up as they have not played together? Give me Pittsburgh versus Atlanta and what could be a scratchy, gritty game.
Just for fun, I would have picked that game too, but I'll give a little in-depth as we're joined by the Godfather, James Rubright on Facebook. Thanks for joining us, Godfather. I'm going to go with another one just to talk about a little with Giants Vikings, a lot of new faces, new places here. Danny Dimes gets one more crack at it. Brian Daboll's on life support. The Vikings lose their rookie QB for the year. They bring in Aaron Jones. Jordan Addison is off-season troubles. I'm interested to see what one of those two franchises kind of down and out right now in preseason could start 1-0 on the right foot and give their team.
I'm going with an Arkansas loss today. Isn't Bobby Petrino the guy that left Atlanta Falcons dirty and dry?
He left his wife dirty and dry on a motorcycle as well, as he got caught cheating with a young...
Give me Oklahoma State.
You're taking the son fucker. Anyways, no, we love Gundy. Gundy's our guy there, but we know a little bit of intel on a bud of ours hooking up with Gundy's son, but neither near nor there. Joey, final word for the program today. On today's show, it was a fun one. We had the Command This fellas join early. We had you crossover a little bit, and now we're in the world of football. Final word, brother.
Yeah, with the weaker slate today, I'm really excited for our live event tonight, AEW in Chicago. Where
AEW.
We have a lights out steel cage match. Yes, lights out steel cage match. Swerve versus Hangman was mentioned, and then MJF I always like to see. So go shout out to Olivia because she's a big fan too. We'll be there tonight. So Cleve and me at Twitter. That's where you could follow me. I'm excited to start with the college football and then see you later tonight for AEW wrestling before we are on the eve of our teams playing NFL football.
And Joey, it seems like Phil will hop on our podcast, and then Deb says his buddy does an AEW podcast as well. So it seems like we'll have the chance to talk wrestling a little bit with the Command This fellas moving into the near future as well. Once again,
Sure.
Command This joined us early on. They're great guys, Steve, Phil, and Dev. Really cool stuff. Then Joey Nips and me closed it out. My final word will be going over our breadwinners. Joey, Royals plus 115 today is his breadwinner. J-Lo, Michigan money line, and my breadwinner is Kansas State, UConn, Wyoming money line parlay. Go win that bread, everybody. Get that cheddar. Get that bread. Go Bucks. Fire the damn cannons. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Bucks win. Bucks win. Bucks win. McMillan into the end zone. Colts win. Colts win. Penn State wins. Notre Dame wins. A lot of fun games today.
Go Irish beat Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that is a fun one. I didn't see them on the betting app. But AEW tonight, for those bored, we get UFC, AEW, college football. What a damn time to be alive. Joey, enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'll see you in a little bit, brother. God bless on the Saturday showdown here. Get you into football. Thanks, everybody. Go Bucks. Thank you to the Command This podcast and all their listeners as well.
Gonna go look up my boy's feet pics. See you later.
Yeah, he is. He said he's a husky muscle. He's a husky muscle. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat Donovan.
It looks like Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.